Hi, this is Tammy Lynn Kent, and I am in my office and recording some energy medicine for this time that we are in. One of the things that's happening, of course, there's lots of disruptive things happening, but we are being called home. And one thing that I talk about when I teach this work or I share the work that I do with women, I talk about how we have really left our feminine fields, and our feminine fields include our pelvic bowls, our body, and our home. And I relay the story of how I had been used to being out in the working world, doing lots of things, definitely an achiever. And then I had my first baby 20 years ago, and he called me home. And it was a shock, a huge shock to my system. I hadn't really been home. I was used to being out doing things. Suddenly, everything came to a halting stop at the baby pace of a child, which is more of the true feminine, which is more rhythmic and slower, far slower than I had been used to doing. And so one of the things that happened besides this invitation to come to a slower time was I had to really feel some of the feelings that had been there and accumulated that I hadn't even noticed because I wasn't attending to them. So there was some grief and other things that were there. Also, there was just a lack of awareness of how to be in a home, how to really be at home and savor the experience of homemaking and being in the home. And when I looked down my block, there was almost nobody home. So I was one of the first in my neighborhood to have a child in that particular neighborhood. When I would look up and down the street, everyone was out working. No one was home. So one medicine we can think of in this time, and this is not to deny the pain and the difficulty and the challenges that's happening. This is all very real. A lot of things are breaking down. It's quite unsettling. But if you want to receive the medicine of this time, one of the medicines is that we are being called home, and there's a tremendous opportunity to open up to the feminine field. And I've never seen so many people at home in my neighborhood. It's, people that I'm sure I'm neighbors with, but they're at work usually. So you can think of it as a huge reset, almost like when we unplug a computer or a phone or something and plug it back in. That's kind of what we're in right now. We're in the unplug, and it's a little unsettling, but as we plug back in, we can be really intentional about what we are receiving, because this is a powerful time of downloading and shifting and change. So one thing I would suggest is, first of all, just recognize that we're in this time of the feminine, receiving, being called home. And so we might have some accumulated feelings to work with. I have a lot of medicine in my book, so I just, look to those if you're feeling lost at all. I wrote these because when I was in the female body, like Wild Feminine, I was in the female body, which is the feminine holder for women. It's a powerful place, but people were so absent there, and yet there was such powerful medicine. I didn't really understand how to weave back a connection to that space. So I went on my own journey of rediscovering the feminine and what that meant. So I wrote a whole book about it, and there's a lot of medicine in here for accumulated feelings. And I wrote them with women coming home to their bodies, but it's similar to the collective experience of what's happening now, where we're coming home to our homes, to our centers, to our families, and we might have some cleanup work to do as we kind of sit in this new space. So there's a lot of meditations and exercises. I did just do Wild Feminine as an audiobook. Women are listening to it and finding that it's helpful to recenter and to understand what is a feminine time. So when I talk about this in my classes or with women, I say usually we aren't called home unless we are sick or we have a child or some massive change happens. So those of you that have had children have had this experience on some level, but this is a massive calling home to the feminine and to a reboot of what that means. So you might first notice that, and then there's a lot of medicine in this book that can help you. If you are a mother and you're feeling unsettled about what's happening right now, Mothering from Your Center has a lot of medicine, because I wrote this specifically for mothers because they are called home and they often feel alone in a culture that hasn't that mostly marches on at a fast pace. So there's medicine in here if you're a mother or you're pregnant and you're struggling. A lot of medicine of how to tune in and receive, because there's still the greater field and the earth below us. We can receive medicine at this time. That hasn't changed. But if we're feeling disoriented or scared, we may not know how to do that. So there's some tools in here. And likewise, if you have either have a job shift happening right now or a life shift that is making you feel unsettled, this book, Wild Creative, really talks about some practices so that you can go on a deeper current of how to channel your energy presently, feminine energy, into the new masculine forms. This book could also be called Wild Masculine because it's a lot of how to take these rhythms and this new energy current that's coming in and start to work it into structures. Now we're a little early for actually rebuilding. We're in the taking apart right now and the calling home. But if you're a doer and you like to have something to focus on, there's a lot of exercises in here that can help you feel a little bit more settled. Women have used this book when they're in career transitions, life transitions. Men have read this book too. It's a good time when you're feeling sort of in between, but you don't know what's coming yet. So I just want you to know these resources are here because the reason I wrote 3 books is because I was sitting in the pelvic bowl in this deeply feminine space, and we weren't really using the medicine, so that part of our body felt abandoned by for most women because of the ways we're living our lives. So this is a massive reboot, kind of a forced, if you will, coming back to the center to really assess what is true and what's most important. And what will come out of this, I believe, as we get this shift, right now we're in the shift still, so we don't have the new patterns yet, but more awareness of what is truly essential and vital, and the deep understanding that we are all connected, which the feminine understands that deeply. The masculine has us more separate, kind of you're on your work field and you're doing your thing. But the feminine understands that we are all one, we are all connected. So therefore we need to take care of every member of the community. And right now, we're really seeing this clearly, that how connected we are. So that's another part of that feminine calling home to the fact that we are one field, one family, really. So I'd invite you in this time, reach for these resources if they're helpful to you, but also just understand the shift time that we're in and start exploring what the feminine is to you, what it means. A really good meditation to do in this time is to get in a bathtub with some salt water, or lay on the earth, or you can even do this on your couch and wrap yourself in a blanket, but really be in the feminine field, which is stillness, quiet, centering, and invite anything that no longer serves you to release from your body field. So do it as just a little meditation where you kind of breathe out any vibrations, any energy patterns, any thoughts, anything that doesn't serve you, and really let it go down. The feminine is about getting to the root, getting to the truth. So be still, be quiet, lay on the ground, lay in the bathtub, lay on the couch, and let your body field begin to release, along with this shift, what no longer serves you. Old ideas, old patterns, even what you thought was valuable. And it's kind of a surrender. It's not a doing, it's not an action, it's more of a surrender. We say, I give everything that I don't need to the earth. I let it go into the water, let it out with this breath, and let it pull from you. And you'll literally feel this almost like water going down the bathtub. You'll feel it release from your body field. You let it feel it go down. And this is part of allowing the shift to really take hold. And do that for a while, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where you allow it to release. And then begin to invite the new patterns, of which we don't even know what they're going to look like yet, but invite the breath of hope, the breath of life, the energy from the earth, the energy from the sky realm, and the downloads to begin to come in to the places that you just opened space, that you just allowed, that you just let go of things that were no longer serving you. You invited in the new patterns that you may not even know yet how to work with them, but you invite in the new potential, the seeds. This time where we're planting and spring is upon us, begin to plant new energy patterns in your field that are very available in this time. Okay, so that's my medicine for you today. Reach for the resources. I've written several, and there is medicine in there if you're struggling, but also take a moment to lay down and surrender and release in the true feminine way of just being and allowing, and then bring in, just like the ocean does, the new current, the new energy, the new potential that is available and is happening to all of us at once in this powerful time of reset. May you be well, may you be at peace, may you know that you are loved, may you know that there's still all the medicine around you that is available in the earth and the feminine, and if you just allow it and let it in, it'll make this feel a little bit better in this time. May it bring comfort to you, and may you take care.